Hello, good morning everyone. Actually, I have recorded the entire class, but somehow that live has not come today. So let me revise it. So today it is, we are going through the Hindu newspaper of Saturday, that is July 13, 2024. So what we look at is, we look at what are the current affairs that we have as far as UPSC, prelims and mains is considered. So yesterday the central government has announced June 25th as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. This is really uncalled for, and this is a very poor taste of government to celebrate something like Samvidhan Hatya Divas. It is like a vengeance on the opposition parties, which is not expected from the ruling party altogether. So June 25th, though it is celebrated as Samvidhan Divas, Samvidhan Hatya Divas is something literally a shameful thing for the country to announce these type of things. So it is saying that there is emergency anniversary, so they wanted to celebrate this. So really, this is a very poor move. If some UPSC or some state exams ask this, this is really a downward trend, right? So this is first thing that we have. You can use this in lack of or failure of priorities of government, failures of priorities of government on which areas they have to prioritize. The second one is you can use in ethics of bad governance. So focus it in good governance and say that these type of things should not be given. These type of things should not be given importance to as far as in administration is considered. In administration, these things should not be allowed at any cost. This should be strictly uh, opposed by all the parties. This should be opposed by all the parties, and these type of days should not be celebrated in the first instance. Hello. So these should not be allowed at any cost for anything. So this is one of the most demeaning thing for the government to celebrate these type of issues. So then there is second one, stay on bail should only be granted in rarest of the rare cases, says Supreme Court. Now this is extremely important for GS paper 2 and GS paper 4. We know that bail, once a person is arrested, bail is a norm but not an exception. Normally, bail should be given because under Article 21 of Indian Constitution, people enjoy personal life, right to life and liberty. In order to uphold this life and liberty, Government of India has given this, or Constitution of India has granted this thing called bail, or we should be giving the bail. So if someone is not giving the bail, it should only be in an exceptional situation. Here also the Supreme Court reiterated the same position that stay on bail should not be granted should be granted only in rarest of the rare cases. Stay on bail means not giving bail. Stay on bail means not giving bail should be only in the rarest of the rare cases. This can be written in GS paper 2, where the Supreme Court has upheld Article 21 of the Indian Constitution and the rights of the citizens. Only these two things are important in the front page. So in the second, third and fourth pages, you have regional news that is not important for UPSC. Nonetheless, in the editorial pages today, you have an wobbly walk. This is regarding to the so-called how India has approached Russia or Putin versus Modi meet, and how it has infuriated the Western countries, and what is the position that India has to do. So what is the outcomes first in India-Russia war? We all know that Prime Minister visited India. From India, he visited to Russia. From there, he went to Vienna. So it has infuriated the Western countries, including the so-called USA and European countries, along with Ukraine. So what are the outcomes? First, let's look at what are the outcomes of India-Russia meet this time. We have focused exclusively on economic relations, where both the countries have accepted that the trade relations has to exceed beyond 100 billion, exceed beyond $100 billion. So today it is $60 billion. We have to expand it beyond $100 billion, and this is going to happen by 2030, because if you look at Russia is kept under sanctions by the West today. Subsequently, India has become the major exporter or importer of Russian oil, and today India is the fifth largest trading partner of Russia because of the sanctions of the West. So this type of relation is going to happen very soon. So this type of things or bilateral trade is going to be achieved. So this is one best thing that has happened. The second one is, for the first time there is no talks in the bilateral relations as far as defense equipment is considered. Both the countries have wantedly avoided the defense talks because Russia is delaying the delivery of the equipments because of the war, and India also refrained from having a deal on the military equipment because of the sanctions that it may be imposed on India too. The third one is Russia has accepted to relieve the Indians who were fighting on the Russia-Ukraine front with the personal intervention of Prime Minister Modi. And fourth one is, Prime Minister Modi clearly said that the solution for war should not be in the ground; it should be through discussions. So this reiterates India's position that we are committed to peace, but however the peace should not come from war; it should come from discussions. So this is again in line with the India-Russia's all-weather friends. So this timing that India has approached Russia, that is during the times of NATO summit, which is going to be held in, or which was held in Washington DC. This has highlights India and Russia relations, particularly when Russia is moving very close to China. However, the Western countries are very, very unhappy with this move, because yesterday US Ambassador to India has said that strategic autonomy should not be reflected every time. When the world is under crisis, when the world is under global order is being broken by some countries like Russia, at that point of time, India should have no strategic autonomy. Rather, they should have taken a stand against Russia. This is what the comment has come. As a result, the time and talk that India had made with Russia is was not liked by these European countries. And clearly, there is some diminishing relation image between India and USA. There was some dent in India-US relations because of recent Russia's visit by the Modi. Fourth one is, USA and NATO and Washington, they have held this summit. Washington, they have held NATO summit. So USA is unhappy for this. However, what India said is, India said that no country can claim what India has to do, because India has this strategic autonomy, India has self-determination. And India is equivocal in its terms, saying that Russia or NATO forces are showing double standards, because they are speaking about Russian invasion into Ukraine, but they are not speaking on the issues which are happening on Israel and Gaza. Israel is also an aggressor, but the West countries have conveniently neglected Israel from blaming it. As a result, this type of double standards will not work in the international relations. That is India's stand. Nonetheless, these are the two things that was discussed in the article. Nonetheless, what is most important is our relationship with Washington is more important for us along with Russia. So now India has to tread carefully to reforge the relations between India and USA, given the declining trend of India and the Western countries. So the verdict of 2024 and this is the first thing, a globally talk. It is speaking about India-Russia relations, one of the best things. The second one is about crash course. The second editorial is about crash course. Recently there was one bus accident that has happened in Uttar Pradesh, and it is a very recurrent theme that in India, road transportation is subjected to safety norms, and the safety norms are plotted by the public transport carriers as well as the private transport carriers. Under that context, there is a report of NCRB which said that National Crimes Record Bureau said that in the year 2022, almost 1.7 lakh people were dead and 4.23 people were injured in the so-called road accidents. This highlights the magnanimity of the problem, and this was reiterated by IIT Delhi in its studies, saying that in 1 lakh people, almost 12 people or 11.3 people are getting killed because of the road accidents. So what is the solution? The article suggests 3 solutions. The first one is the local authorities who is engaged with these people. They should enforce the laws very strictly, enforcing existing standards, and they have to engage skilled persons and proper equipment whenever they are giving license to the local authorities, or whenever they are giving license to the public transport carriers or private transport carriers. And they should also impose harsh penalties on the transport service operators if they fail to meet the required things. And municipal bodies must be prevented from diluting standards painstakingly specified by engineers. So majority of the times the local authorities dilute standards, and this is one biggest problem. So these are the three things that the local authorities have to do. First one is enforce the existing standards. Second one is higher penalties. Don't dilute the standards. These are the three things that is important from the local authorities. At the same time, from Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, they have to give complete data on vehicle registration, safety certificate, testing certificates, criteria and reports and audits. All this should be presented to the public. And moreover, the third one is greater public awareness should be created in order to avoid that transportation which is causing them a lot of accidents. Government should provide the data about which persons are causing this more problems, and they have to take the solution here. So these are the three interventions that the local authorities along with the Ministry of Road Transport has to be given, and public awareness has to be raised in order to avoid those public transport carriers or private transport carriers who is not taking standard measures, so that they will be coming in line with the pact. So the next one is the verdict 2024. It's amplified message. Only two or three things is important here. This is only for PSIR students, by the way, not for general studies students. So the final turnout of 2024 elections is 66.2%. This is 18th Lok Sabha elections, and we have 66.2% voter turnout. In the 17th Lok Sabha, the voter turnout is 67.2%. So compared to 17th and 18th Lok Sabha, there has been 1% decline in the total voting or turnout of votes. Nonetheless, 66.2% is a greater number, and it reflects that people are participating in it, and it reflects that there is robust indication of voters' electoral participation. Indians were engaged in the discussion of elections much before the starting of the elections. Even during the times of elections, all the phases, people were very vigilant and they were cautiously discussing about it. Even after the conduction of the elections, during the so-called exit poll survey, people have shown keen interest, and after the election results were announced, we have shown keen interest. So almost 67 or 66% of Indians are interested in these things. This is despite some challenges which is existing in the so-called electoral process in the country. That is, reliability of EVM machines was doubtful for many people. Second one is increasing cases of defection, declining role of ideologies in elections, and quality of representatives. All these are declining day by day. Nonetheless, the government of India has went ahead, or nonetheless the people have shown resilient power to go and vote. And in this election time, in this 2024 elections, if there is an amplified message from the public. What is the message? Yes, they have given importance to national pride, national security issues, but at the same time, they have also passed a strong message to BJP that they wanted not identity politics based on caste or religion, because the defeat of BJP in Ayodhya itself speaks a lot about the so-called religious politics. Nonetheless, people are not worried about religion today. They are most concentrated on their bread and butter, unemployment issues, on the price rise that the government has to tackle. At the same time, by giving not full majority to the ruling party, there is a clear message that in a functioning democracy, opposition is very important, and that is reflected in today's Lok Sabha. So the 18th Lok Sabha can be called as a textbook case or a better government in form of the so-called functioning democracy. Nonetheless, both the ruling party and the opposition parties have to leave their entanglements and have to work for the seriousness, or to work for the serious issues that the people are facing. That is what they are saying. So very good message has been passed. No identity politics further. Focus on the developmental agenda. These are going to be one of the most important things. The PDS impact on household expenditure. Now this is speaking about not UPSC. This is statistics part. People or who have economics optional, they can read it. Otherwise, not important. Just only few things are important. The first paragraph is important. What is public distribution system? It is the system where food is distributed to the people by the food corporation agency through the ration shops. Now, it is one of the important social security programs in India under National Food Security Act, which provides food security. 75% of urban Indians are covered and 50% of rural Indians are covered under this scheme. As a result, this is one of the most important schemes in the country. This was what written, and the rest of the story is regarding how this calculation was done, what is the sample size, these things, this is not important. So only first paragraph is important from that context. Next is ground zero report. Every Saturday the Hindu will give ground zero report. They will take a theme and they will explain that theme. So this month theme or this week theme is freedom and controlling Xinjiang. So they will ask this for prelims. Xinjiang is a province present at which place? It is present in northwestern province of China, and it is home to many ethnic groups. Particularly, the largest sections of people present here is Uyghur, Uyghur, Uyghur groups of Muslims. They are Muslims. So Xinjiang is present in the so-called China or northwestern frontier of China, and the group which is present here is Uyghur group. So remember this, they can ask for prelims. Only this is important here. Now, despite the strained relations between India and USA because of India's meet with Russia yesterday, the National Strategic Advisor of both America and India has met. This shows that national interests dominate in the global sphere, right? So the rest of the articles are regular news. Inflation rates of government they have given. This is not official estimates, by the way. So net tax receipts for the government for this month, every month they will be releasing, no need to go for monthly things. But one thing that is important for essay writing for ethics is this. Centralized hiring leads to language cultural barriers. Now what is this? Government of India has launched a program known as Ekalavya Model Residential Schools. In order to teach in this school, central government has recruited teachers from across the country. Now, after recruitment, these teachers were sent to these residential schools which are present in the tribal areas. But one of the problem is, as the teachers are recruited outside and they are going into these tribal areas, these people are unaware of these things that is called the local language and culture. As a result, this is acting the biggest barrier between the outsiders and the insiders. So the people who are getting trained in this Ekalavya model residential schools or the teachers should know the culture and language with which they are going to associate. Otherwise, the objective of Ekalavya model schools itself is going to get watered down. So this is a perfect example again how policy making will be having some challenges. GS paper 4, and you can also use this in society where how to promote culture and language. Right. This is the thing that we have, and in the business page, again, there are self-recurrent themes. GST panel is going to meet. Index of industrial production is out. So boost financing for green projects. There is no much news about these things. They can ask. They will not ask all these things. Leave it. Next. After this, England's top performer, Mr. Anderson, has bid farewell to his career. You can use him in answer writing in SAR ethics. One of the best bowlers of the world cricket. Right. Next. Kapil makes fervent appeal to help Ayushman Gaikwad. So Kapil Dev is very happy because India has recently won its 4th World Cup after 1983, 2007 and 2011, none less than 1983. Indian skipper has also said, yes, this is the time for celebration. At the same time, he has shown some empathy towards the former Indian opener coach Anshuman Gaikwad. So Anshuman Gaikwad was his companion, or he served India. Now what he wants to do is he is struggling. Anshuman Gaikwad is suffering from some blood cancer, so he is facing some financial problems. So Kapil Dev has asked the people to help him, particularly the cricket fraternity, to help them. This shows how leaders can play a very crucial role as far as this humanitarian help is considered. The last one is, again, you can use this in ethics and essay writing. India has showed resilience in the 2020 World Cup, says former Indian cricketer Mr. V.V.S. Lakshman. So, what is it? The character of resilience and self-belief was showed by the Indian cricket team by pulling the match off the jaws of the defeat, because when South Africa needed 30 runs from 30 balls, this was very easy game for South Africa, but still our players have taken that trophy from the jaws of defeat. So this shows the resilience that these people have faced. So this you can use it in dedication to duty, integrity in work, commitment, team spirit. So there you can write all these things. These are the things that we have in today's newspaper, guys. No much current affairs. Just read the 2 editorials that is important. The rest of the things you can neglect in today's newspaper. So only these things are given in today's newspaper. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. I am winding it up and we will meet soon with our next class.